us know. I think myself and the budget committee would like to thank all people for all the hard work they put in, especially making sure, and our city manager, that we could sustain the spending that we did. So look it over, and next meeting it will be on the agenda for consideration and approval.
Yeah, if you find something, things wrong in there, contact Ladonna before the meeting, because we need to try and pass it next meeting, so we need to get it corrected if you find something.
Is this one different than the one last week? Has there been changes?
It should be the same.
I was saying.
Yeah, nobody contacted you with any changes. Yeah, it should pretty much be the same.
Very good, then, moving right along, we'll go for approval of bids for lighting at Frank Dean Ballpark.
We had a bid opening for the ballpark lights. As you know, I talked to you earlier. Fixtures only was going to be $70,660. This bid was for replacement of 7 bad poles and the removal and replacement of the lights themselves that we purchased. Alderman Creek, low bid of $111,826.
So we're looking at almost $200,000.
$185,000.
And how are we funding that?
We would have to take it out of excess in the ARPA. There is $244,000, I believe, that is unencumbered in that account.
Okay. Seems awfully high.
And
So,
Right,
a couple questions. We talked about this in the public facilities meeting about a month ago when we had the last meeting, and I mentioned that they aren't using the big ball field for anything. Is this lighting still everything that we wanted?
It removed the lighting on the back side of the big ball field that basically illuminated all of that stuff.
That $70,000 price then didn't go down any, because I think that was still the price when we were thinking about it.
It did not go down any. There was not that many fixtures that were going to be removed.
No, you're talking about back by the railroad tracks, right?
Yes.
We're talking about the senior league park.
I have a couple questions.
Yeah.
First of all, if there's not that many fixtures to remove, then won't those lights be functioning?
We could.
Or they're going to be completely different kinds, so they won't?
They're a different style of light instead of the metal halide. These are LED.
Uh-huh.
So it would be a different style of light, but there's no reason why they couldn't be left there instead of paying to take them down. But they're going to be on that pole anyways.
That's what I mean. Will they be functional though?
Yes, they can be.
Another question. I know we did the estimate on the lights, but have we ever approved it?
No, this is all. This is the project to you for approval now.
Yeah, but I mean on the other, won't it be separate?
Yeah, the lights.
No,
This is just
lights
for the
would be
poles.
separate from the.
This is the poles, this is the installation and everything.
And this is going down 40 feet from 80?
They will be at 52 feet.
52 feet, okay.
Yes.
The reason I ask is purchasing the lights before we accept a bid to install what we haven't voted to approve yet.
This would be for both purchasing the lights and what you have in front of you is the bid that Algier Martin did. I have the bids to you earlier on the lights. We have one response on those.
Oh, okay, so the 111,000 that we're approving now,
You would be approving 185,
the total thing.
the total thing, yes, not just the 111. 111 is installation, 70 is product.
Okay, it comes from the AOP money. What are we gonna push back now in order to come up with that number?
This is after all of those estimates, and we had 244,000 that we had not attached to any projects.
Unallocated.
unallocated.
How did we get along last summer, the lights that we had?
Not very well. I had lots of complaints about it. We spent, we had electricians out there twice working on them. And I'm gonna say one of the bills was like $2,600, $2,900.
On the,
So,
The removal of the fixture is only $2,000 in that whole bid.
so if I'm doing my anywhere close, to work them last year, we had to invest $5,000. And now we're looking at doing $180,000.
on the ARPA numbers that we handed out last week, I don't have it, we had taken 71,000 off already
Right,
tentatively.
right.
So basically, it's gonna be about 112,000 more. 114,000 more out of the 228 remaining. So the funding, as far as the budget, is available through ARPA, but it's if we want to spend that much money on it.
Yeah.
I think piggybacking on Mr. Gozzi's comments, is there any other Band-Aid fixes that aren't $180,000 replace everything? It was $5,000 last year to make it through one more season. Is there anything else like that?
We couldn't even, we spent $5,000 last year, but we couldn't even get all of the fixtures to work. The ballast for those, they don't make anymore. And of course, last year we also had some supply chain issues getting light bulbs, but that's why they had 2 trips out there.
And the existing poles that we have are just trash or what?
Not all of them. There's only 7 of them that need replaced.
Okay.
They have 2 problems. They're rotted at the bottoms, and then woodpeckers have taken care of the tops of them.
Not a good thing.
What's the lifespan on these? Like if down the road we would find a way or find fundraising or something that we could ever relocate locate all of these.
We could relocate
The fixtures.
the fixtures.
Like the warranty.
Yeah, I don't have it. Yes, I do. 5-year warranty.
I guess my question kind of runs deeper than just the lights. We've had several floods down there, every year, 2 years, 5 years, which kind of wipes out the park. How much of that park are we responsible for today? And I guess,
100%.
okay, so we got maybe, I would call lucky last year with only $5,000, $6,000. I mean, I don't remember us having a flood last year. Maybe we did. I don't remember it.
I think the last,
You approve 180,000 some odd and change for the lights. How much is left over? Where can we come up with money if we have a flood this year for that park? I mean,
and the only thing I can do is tell you what we've done historically after floods. And that is dirt for the diamonds and fencing. If BYAA has any product in there, that's their responsibility. We've never tried to replace that. We got them shelving so that they could put everything up higher. And as you and I both know, I've been here as long as we have. I've seen it to the eave. I've never seen it above the eave. Just the roof was sticking out.
I haven't seen that, but
I have.
I know it's covered the transformers.
2004.
Covered in. I don't know, are they up or are they still down on the
No,
ground?
they're still down. 2000,
Are we responsible for the transformer?
no,
Did they-
no, that's Empire or Liberty, excuse me.
That's,
The last big one was 2004, wasn't it?
2019, same year we had the tornado, we had significant flooding then too.
Yeah, we went like 4.
It was not like before.
Because in 2004, I know they put all the baseball stuff up in the Little League's press box to keep from getting flooded out. That was the only place that was dry.
I had the bottom row of my football helmets all coated in mud and had my shoulder pads and everything hung, but I didn't have that problem.
With the idea that the pool's gonna close and then we have the water park up here that we just built, or show the directions, I'm turning around in here. And then if we don't fix this, are they gonna be able to play baseball?
Till it gets dark.
They could. It's by no means safe, for one thing, because of inadequate lighting. And bigger question is it acceptable to you guys to do that type of thing with faulty lighting?
Right. And I just don't wanna do anything, if we don't fix it, they're gonna play baseball somewhere. And I'd rather them play at Junction than anywhere else.
Yeah, do you want to have a halfway facility, or do you want to have something that the kids will use?
Exactly. Have we maybe passed a use tax? We could have a brand new baseball facility somewhere.
You're exactly right. We would have more money in our budget for things like this if we would have had a use tax in place.
Anyway, I'd recommend approving it. It's a lot of money. I want the kids to be able to play. That's a quality of life issue for I love watching my boys play. I still go to games sometimes. I still go to football games. I go to the kids in the living area. I think it's a good investment for our children. I don't want to turn around and do it again next year. Anyway, that's my opinion.
I want to ask one more thing. Again, we had mentioned scaling it down just a little bit because currently they're not using the senior league field. They use that for T-ball, but they don't schedule those games. Those are early and they're out of there. And so I mentioned maybe we don't need the lights. And since there was no cost difference, we went ahead and included that field or not as far as the material.
There was very few on that outside row. When I talked to BYAA, the interior lights that shine on the field, they still want those. It was just the lights that shine out into the railroad tracks and that type of thing. There's very few that do that. That's why there was no difference. They still want the rest of the field illuminated.
I'm just saying if there's not much difference, we may want to go ahead and include that in the plans of illuminating that entire field. If there's not much difference between doing it or not, then it does at least make that field usable. Where, like I said, they don't maybe use it all the time, but we don't want them to come back and say, we need this field illuminated now, and that would probably be easier to get it all done at once. So if there's not much difference at all in the cost of doing the whole project, I guess I'd be interested in doing the whole project. The other thing I was going to say is I'm for this. I mean, it's got to be done. Absolutely. They need lights, but this is a lot of money that we're spending for one particular sport. And so I'll just make sure we remember that this is just one activity, and there's lots of sports that are probably even more popular than baseball nowadays. And so I want to make sure we remember that. When
Still play flag out there, don't they?
Yeah, they play flag football out there too.
They play.
And softball.
And play soccer.
Softball, baseball, and flag football.
no soccer, I'll be at Frank.
And the
Yep.
football teams practice out there once it starts getting dark too.
Well, it's cheaper than indoor basketball court.
I know we'd have to ask them, but is it BYA in a position to help?
I have not got an answer back from them yet. As soon as I got this in, after that, I sent them a text. They're actually having a meeting next door, so
That's soccer.
I think this is just a coaches meeting now.
Soccer.
Soccer.
Let's see, Gibson. anyway, I hate to approve it. If anybody else is thinking the same way I am with, I mean, it needs to be approved because baseball season will be here very soon. The team's probably practicing already. I don't know when this. But again, I think maybe we'd like to see what the whole project would be if we're gonna do replacement on this.
Well, can we approve, how many lights, extra lights are we talking about? Could we approve this and then come back with a change order or something if they,
You can, sure.
you know, I mean, consider how much it is and what we can do. I mean,
I can't
let's
tell.
see if we do it, we're already into March, I mean, it's gonna take.
Yeah, you're at $182,400 and some dollars. Yeah, I can't tell off of the drawing which one, you know, how many more fixtures it would be. But, and we did change it from 80-foot poles to 60-foot poles. So there will be a deduct on. And sometime there'll be a deduct on it. So it probably wash.
Is there any motion?
Can't do anything until we get a motion.
I move we approve the bid, for the, what was it, 111, 826?
Well, it's 100,
Oh, sorry.
both of them.
Both of them.
Yeah, for both of them.
Second.
Okay, motion by Rick Flynn, second by Mark Sadler, that we approve the bids we have for the lighting at Fred Dean Ballpark. All those in favor, please
Hold on a
signify.
second. With, can we say with possibility of looking into extending it? I mean, we're now approving just what is written, but we'd like to look into.
Yeah, with Steve to look into what the changes we need, the savings and if there's any extra costs. That's fine.
Thank you.
All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 6 in favor, 1 against. It is approved. Next is approval of the water system improvements. Steve?
MPUAA through their finance program, in your packet there, we got, bids came back for water and system improvements. If you remember, these are the improvements that we had submitted to the state for ARPA funding through the state, which we were declined. You've got 3 options there, 2 Central Bank of the Midwest and then 1 Clayton Holdings. Clayton Holdings, if you read the fine print in there, is a subsidiary of Commerce Bank. It is, you know, the option 1, you know, 84,000, and those are semi-annual, so you get to have $168,000 payment every year. One was 84.8, the other was 85.7, and then Clayton was 87.4. This is our 20-year note. There is some small differences. Option 1 is the first 10 years, and then years 11 through 20, where it goes up a little bit. Option 2 is years 1 through 15, where it's set, and then 16 through 20, it goes up a little bit. It's where it's adjusted to the Treasury. I don't think any what the Treasury is going to be like in 15 years. They're going to be so. Those are estimates, of course, on their part. We would still, if you approve these bids, there would actually be paperwork for Gilmore and Bell. They're the finance lawyers to do. MPUA handles all of that, send it to us. So you guys would have to approve that contract also. This is just the bid approval.
Yeah, Bob.
How much are we generating off the additional rate?
We generate about 300,000 a year that we put in reserves specifically for large project water repair and replacement items. We did that
A year ago.
we did that last year, was the first year that we've done it. So at the end of this year, that's what we'll have in there. So we will already have, 4 payments stashed away?
So we should be fine on the semi-annual
Yes.
and hopefully we wouldn't have a bunch of repairs after we did this, but we might even hypothetically
You
be
could-
able to
you
pay
could
it off
still-
early down the road.
Right. You can still expect repairs, of
Oh, yeah.
course, but
Not large scale.
not large scale. This is major improvement. In fact, this gets rid of some 2-inch and 4-inch lines and loops some other lines so that you have a continuous flow, get better water quality that way. We've got fire hydrants sitting on 4-inch lines, and as we all know, that doesn't work. Fire department gets called out on something like that, and they have to use their bucket or whatever they want to call it, that portable tank that they have.
Swimming pool.
Yeah,
And we do assume, we hope, that we're gonna get some funding, because we're next on the list.
that's stormwater.
Oh, that's not this, that's just
That's not this.
stormwater. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Well, never mind then. That's right.
So are these improvements, I mean, we're looking at increasing the diameter of those lines,
yeah.
fire hydrants and all that?
Yeah, so people, a lot of times people, when they call in on complaints, they say they don't have any water pressure. And it's not the water pressure problem, it's a water volume problem, you know? So if you get an 8-inch line that's 60 PSI, or you get a 2-inch, that is usually.
What are we looking at on a time frame for getting funds? Like, how long will it take Gilmore Bell and them to get everything?
Not very long at all. They actually give us the option of when we want to get the funds, which allows engineering to take place in the meantime, get all that engineering done. That's gonna have to be done.
And we've already had the engineers look at it to do the,
They've got
Plan,
preliminary
the-
engineering done. Yep, they've got that done, and they have, the amount of money that we are borrowing on this would pay for engineering also. We're not gonna have to take engineering out of our own coffers.
no, when I looked over it, I was looking at Central Bank option 2.
Yeah, option 2 is the best option, I believe, too.
Yeah. I've
Least
just,
risk to the city.
yeah, I just don't know. I'd rather have it fixed for a little longer, pay a little bit more, because I'm real uncertain about what might happen in 10 years as far as.
No idea.
You can gamble one way and be wrong, but I would rather kind of have that fixed at that for 15 years.
I agree with you on number 2.
I would recommend going with number 2, and we did build it into the rates a year ago because we got that 20-year phase-in plan, knew it was coming. If we can get the money at these rates now and do it, because I do as increase in bills. So. If there's no other thoughts, I would move that we accept the central bank option 2 for funding. And then go ahead and get the paperwork started or whatever.
Second.
Motion by Don Allen, second by Rick Lynn, to accept the Central Bank of Midwest option 2 for the water system renewal and replacement project. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative with 1 absent. That is approved. Next, we have long-term projects report. That Steve submitted. Any comments about the long-term projects? Anything anything for Steve?
I did on the splash pad. I got a bid in on a couple of shade structures. They would basically look like what's already down there, except they would have if you pass that along. Except it'll have a shingle roof on it. And they're $11,212.90 a piece. They are 16 by 24 structures, so considerably less than.
And what about the flooring? Will you have to do that?
No, that's included. Concrete's included.
Wow. They're 56,000.
Maybe we should just put sidewalks all down Pinnell. It's cheaper than.
The company that you gave me the name for has actually sold, and it's somebody else, so I've got to contact them too.
Okay.
And that's for the fabric style instead of a shade structure like this. But that's just information for you.
Any other questions for Steve?
The number 8, the water, we're still in the hurry up and wait.
Yep, different way.
Do they ever give you any update on that? When it'll be in there?
I think it'll be the end of next year before we hear anything. So if they have that long time to decide on that,
Yeah, they've got to have it spent by 26, December 26th. I think it'll be after that.
After 26. So what are we doing in the meantime?
For like the Main Street, the alley here, just behind Main Street on the west, Jay went in there and spread rock, filled in some bad places, graded it so that it would try to channel the water better. I mean, we're just doing what we can.
when do they have to decide on combining those and all that stuff?
I think that's in December of 24.
That's what I thought. So at the end of next year, then we'll find out if we're gonna get funding or not.
Yeah, I was putting time in there for them to notify and all of that.
Yeah, it should take 2 years.
I would hope not.
They should know by that time.
Yeah.
How much money they're gonna have left over they can allocate. Anything else for Steve? Very good then. We'll go along to department reports. Mark, I'll start with you. Yeah, looks like you got your LEST grant. A lot of good stuff in there.
Start to place orders now.
Good. Had an exciting time Saturday, I understand.
Yeah, Joplin initiated a pursuit in our city. They knew who the driver was. He had a first-degree felony assault warrant. That's why they continued the pursuit. Came through town. We were not involved in it directly. It had already crashed out into a field on South Romy. Whenever Officer Eimer got there, lots of fentanyl and methamphetamine found in the truck. Driver rebelled on foot. He wasn't captured that night, but he was still at large. There was a passenger in the truck. He was arrested and charged with trafficking drugs.
Anything from Chief? Nope. I don't see a works report.
There was not a public works report this week. since
Well,
it
then we
was
will not ask for it.
one weekend.
Yeah, that's true. Case we'll have a building inspectors either. Okay. We're done with department reports. Moving right on to committee reports. Budget and finance, Ladonna.
We presented a budget for review, and it will be on the agenda for the next meeting for consideration of approval because we need to get that done and in for the 1st of April. Other than that, if you've got any questions or concerns on the budget, please let me know as soon as possible so we can get them addressed.
Closing news, it's Rick.
I'll bring it up in new business, but nothing at this time.
Okay. Human resources, Roger.
Yeah.
Public facilities, Mike.
Yeah, we had a public facilities meeting, I guess it was closer to the 1st of February, but this is the first time I've been with you guys to let you know what we talked about. We talked about some things like the ball field lights that we've been over just now and some other projects. I think one thing we're trying to hope to be able to do is we have a master plan of a lot of big projects that we'd like to accomplish, but they're very pricey. And so we were trying to see maybe what we can accomplish reasonably quickly with a lot less money, maybe, and some things that can do a lot of good. And so we talked about the trails at a couple different locations. Center Creek Park has the trail that's continually washing out, and what we can do about that, and Lakeside Park. And so we need to try to revisit with Steve and make sure we follow up on whatever we talked about in there. And we talked about trying to not do big projects, but mend a little bit what we can. We talked about some other small projects that we can get done. New lights for the gym here in this building, some doors at the PD building, and some things like that.
I think we approved all that
Perfect.
last meeting.
Good. Yes.
The doors.
Just some things that we talked about that we could try to make a little bit of an impact without the big master plan on spending millions of dollars. So anyway, if you have more things that that need done that we can get done with the money we have, let me know.
Anything else?
That's all I
Mike? Very good then. Move along, senior citizens. Richard, would you like to comment on senior citizens?
Speaking of the facilities, I'd like to get together with you and the committee for the senior group. Cleaning up after the facility has been used for a weekend. This last, I guess it was a weekend or so ago. There were three activities, and there was a considerable amount of cleanup required before senior center folks can even start preparing a meal. And they're very thin in regard to their staffing, and they don't have time for that. And it has to be resolved. It's been a continuing issue for quite some time, and I think it's going to take council action to be able to do something there.
Is it inspected after the deals are over?
Yes, they do. They have an inspection sheet that they use.
Have you ever charged anyone for cleaning up afterwards?
Absolutely.
There has to be a coming together of minds of the and I can't speak for the area agency, but it causes, they have to clean up again. So their cleanup level doesn't meet the expectation level that the area agency has or whatever. So it has to be resolved.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, Bill, want to ask Richard a question or anything?
Oh.
Any other comments?
Okay, who do we need to talk to as far as to make that? Is that just a meeting with you?
Bob McAfee is chairman of the senior committees, and so it's Bob,
Jason Wright,
Jason Wright, and
Richard.
What type of cleanup are we talking? I mean, do we have any kind of pictures or anything that we can look at to see what we're?
They have to go in and mop lots of times, nearly every time. This last time that brought up the biggest issue, there was apparently overbooking of the warming kitchen. And so they opened up the kitchen, the senior citizens kitchen, or the big kitchen, whatever you want to call it, to a group. There was debris in the sinks, and they had to clean all of that out. They usually have to mop. They wipe off all the tables. They get the table. People move in tables and move out tables, so they have to get the tables changed back and forth to what the right number is. So
We need to take pictures, like I said, next time. Somebody do that, get their camera, and so we can have them and go back to this group and And maybe not let them use the thing again,
Just
if they're not gonna
even
clean
a-
up.
Yeah, even a cell phone picture or something. So
Yeah.
we can,
Well, I agree.
Yeah.
There needs to be documentation of
Yeah.
what that is.
And then just, if they do it another time, then we just won't rent it to them.
I'd like to see
It's
the
easier said than done.
checklist. What's this checklist that they?
Okay.
Do we have the cleaning equipment there for them and they know how to access all that? And that's, make sure we're
It's
providing.
one of the reasons that we have staff here is for that, so that doesn't happen.
Who is responsible for like looking at the checklist and make sure it's done?
Whoever the staff is that's on duty at the time,
I would,
they have to fill out that sheet before a refund is ever sent to the people for the cleaning, and if it's not done, they don't get their money back.
I would think we might tell people too when they're renting it, that as they do the checklist, they might even want to document too, just like if you're leasing an apartment or something. If both parties are checking over things and taking pictures, then we have comparisons.
So is there basically one repeat offender, this whole group that's doing this? Does that make it? I do not.
I don't think so, I don't know for sure, I don't think so, though.
Okay, if we knew that, then we would
Yeah.
start off there, that option would be to say, we already have one more time, we've had some complaints, and let's see what we can take care of, but if we don't have anybody specifically in mind.
Maybe whoever the staff member is, have they been trained or do they need to be retrained on what to look for?
What's the deposit for cleaning?
For residents it's 25 and for non-residents it's 15.
Too low. Too low.
In manufacturing, we have pictures of expectations. It's posted on the respective manufacturing area. And that's what the expectation is of how that area is kept, how that machine is kept or whatever. We could very well do the same thing. In this case, this is the expectation.
Yeah.
And this is how it's supposed to be left. If it's not, then this is what it's supposed to be. This is what you left. So there's get your deposit back or whatever.
Well, I think you give.
Or that's how you.
If you're gonna get some pictures of stuff like that, they need to be given copies of those when they rent the thing and say, this is the end, leave it, and you're done.
Yeah.
And take pictures when you get there and take pictures when you leave. So,
I'm sure the committee will figure it out. Anything else? Very good, then we'll go to unfinished business. Jim,
No, sir.
Mark,
Nothing, sir.
Mike,
I have nothing, sir.
Don.
unfinished, the only thing I would like to say is I did hand out a deal last week on the nomination for Claire Utes. It was brought to my attention even after I clarified it with a third party before I did it. I had left out an I in Utes. It was fixed before it was submitted, and the Lieutenant Governor's office, Gabrielle, has confirmed receipt of it, so they do have the
Good.
nomination.
Good.
That's all I have.
I have nothing.
No, sir.
Ollie?
I just have one quick question.
Sure.
So we budget $30,000 for cleaning City Hall. What does that cover?
Would you like to explain that?
Steve,
City Hall cleaning?
See how things.
That covers the lobby and city hall. And of course, the bathrooms,
basketball court?
no,
No.
The employees.
the cardio room, the bathrooms, the lobby, and city hall.
So nothing in the kitchen.
No.
Nothing on that.
No,
That's all.
Mr. Tyler?
No.
Alina?
No, sir.
Crystal? Steve?
one thing I did lay in front of the code review committee, the ordinance Mr. Kelly drew up on the public use of marijuana, since it is prohibited in the amendment that was passed. We we have the same thing on it now, and so I'll need to get with, and I have one more that I'm writing, and I'll have to get to the code. Probably before the next meeting.
Before the next, you want to pick a date now or?
That would be
You right before.
Oh, yeah.
so it's gonna be the 21st,
So 30 minutes enough?
Yeah.
Okay. 6:30 then?
6:30 on the 21st. That's all I have.
Mark, are you finished? Nope. Holly, new business.
No, sir.
Rick?
So this may not be business or
Yeah, it is.
my ignorance.
First time I've heard.
Yeah, they will be. Yeah. What are like when I have to run again? Are there anything? I know I sign a form or something that says that I don't have any conflict of interest. Of like I own businesses in town or something. I forget exactly what it is. Are there any? Is that the only conflict of interest things that would disqualify us from running for office?
Well, you can't sell the city so much stuff.
Stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff like that. You can't like have a business,
Right.
you know, and then because you're on the board, you get all the contracts for paving all the streets.
Yeah.
It's not a competitive bid, but that's basic conflict of interest like that. Laney's got all that stuff.
I don't know if there was anything. Well, I'm a pastor in town, you know, so that was part of the reason I wanted to be on there. Is just good Christian leadership within the community, things like that. So I'm pretty sure that it's not a conflict of interest. But if I'm, I don't know.
If, as a general guidance, if something would ever come up with the church that would require city intervention, city involvement,
Right.
then you would need to excuse yourself, step off of the dais, have no part of the conversation, no part of the decision-making process.
No voting.
Yeah, and obviously no
Recruit
voting
yourself.
on.
So that would be on me, or I would have to.
We would make sure that you do that.
We tell you.
Okay, and I just like because I'm on another board in the community, the Regional Health and Welfare Board that works through the United Way and does some things in the community. Just other boards that we're a part of. I don't want that to ever become a conflict of interest. I don't know if there's something that we have that in writing in our code.
It's not in our code, but it is in state statute.
Yeah.
State statutes, okay.
And if you have something that comes up before this board that you think maybe you have an interest in some fashion because of your board membership someplace else, you need to bring it to the mayor, me, Steve, and let's talk about it. Figure out whether you've got a conflict or not.
I don't feel that I do have a conflict in any way right now, but I just.
Well, these come up. These conflicts come up depending on the issue and the position that you occupy here, and also the position you occupy somewhere else. Maybe as a board member somewhere else. They could occur. So you need to be. We don't know them when they arise. You're in a position to know them, and if your other obligations, your other membership is clearly going to benefit from a decision here, the question should be asked.
Yes. Okay.
It may not be a personal interest that would disqualify you, but we need to look at that.
Just
Check it out at the time.
Okay, that's all I can.
New business.
None.
I have none.
I've
I've done, sir.
Mark?
Have none, sir.
Jim?
Not at this time.
Mr. Tapp?
Just a quick note, I will be at Spring Institute all of next week, and then I will be gone on Friday for something personal, so if you need anything, just email.
Very good. Crystal? Steve?
Carl Junction Girls beat Webb City 67-42.
Wow.
All right.
District champions.
Good. Chief,
Word that is always fast.
is there any other business before the council?
Move we adjourn.
Second.
By Donna Allen, some recommend that we adjourn. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. 7 in the affirmative, 1 absent. We are now adjourned. Thank you all for attending. Especially the new nurses we're gonna get.